Good evening. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, friends, and family, to the induction class of 2011, the first ever Hopedale Junior Senior High School Athletic Hall of Fame. My name is Fran Whitten, and I am truly honored to be your Master of Ceremonies. What a wonderful feeling to be home again. I actually wrote a speech. It's the first time I've written a speech since the first speech I ever wrote. An assembly at Hopedale High School my first year as varsity softball and varsity soccer and softball coach. I wrote a speech, soccer on one side, softball on the other. Came up, gave my soccer speech, sat down. The athletic director at the time, Mr. Donald Klosek, came up to the podium next and stole my speech. Came back up to talk about the softball team, had no speech. Talked anyways. After the ceremony, everybody was like, "Oh, Fran, that softball speech was great." I never wrote another speech. Tonight I was nervous about what I was going to say, so I wrote one, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to save the script. In any case, I want to extend my personal thanks to Kelley Butler. She invited me to be your MC tonight for this historic event. She has done a tremendous job as the Director of Athletics here in Hopedale and has made a dream that we talked about 15 years ago come true. Rate of Pride is stronger than ever, as is exemplified by this wonderful occasion we are celebrating today. Please welcome Mrs. Kelley Butler.
I, on the other hand, did not write a speech because I did not have to read it. I want to thank Fran for coming out on a full night and back to Hopedale for us to realize together the wonderful vision we spoke about at length many, many times in our office. Our connection is long and storied, and we still have an opportunity to work together, which I greatly, greatly appreciate. I also want to thank the school committee members who are here, the town officials who have come. My administrators, Derek and Dennis, are texting me in my pocket right now with the results of our soccer game. Our varsity girls are playing, or were playing, at Foley Stadium tonight in the state final in girls varsity soccer. So we are very proud of them. They're only losing one player next year, so we hope to be there, just like the field hockey team back in '92 was a state finalist and went on to be a state champion. Your support and your confidence, the town administrators, my administrators, the teachers in this building, and the students are wonderful people. They help, they support, and they give me confidence. This, as Fran said, is a long-term vision for us and a dream realized. Why does it say Hall of Fame? Well, things in education have changed. We have no athletic facilities, and yet we go so far. This was the place to put the Wall of Fame, the Hall of Fame, because yes, it's a hall, but this is something that's going to be here forever. The gym may go. There are no other places where we gather. This is where town meeting is held, and so we get to celebrate, and the whole town gets to celebrate. Should in the future someone decide to do social and civic awards, it's available. The wall is available, as it's called, the Hall of Fame. I want to talk a little bit about, I still try to keep the idea of Rate of Pride, and the athletes who are here, many of them know Rate of Pride as a very strong and proud tradition of integrity, character, honor, dedication, spirit, and sportsmanship. And in our opinion, no one exemplifies that more than Don Klosek. 2 years ago in February, we had a reunion of all the Clark tournament winners. And one of the reasons we were honoring them was an excuse to get Don to come to the gym with a lot of people and not know the true announcement that was about to be made. We got everybody out in the gym. We had a beautiful reception here, and we all went over to the gym for the game. And at the end of it, we announced that we were creating the Hall of Fame, that Don Klosek was going to be our first inductee. Tonight he will really be the first inductee. We have two father-daughter teams tonight, too. The Mantonis and the Toscases. Mantoni men on the baseball team. Mantoni daughters, 25 years later, members of the field hockey team. We're thrilled to have you here. We're thrilled to have each and every one of you here. We also have a husband and wife. Eric Jones Abrazays was on the field hockey team, and Paul's her husband, and he will be here for his award. So the process tonight is going to be like this. We're going to have a speaker on the person being inducted, a very short video, and then we'll call the person or the team up individually to the stage after it says, the screen will say, "Welcome to the Hall of Fame." Tom Fisher is here, two of his students, and Tom did a wonderful job with a lot of research and a lot of pictures from old yearbooks and old photo albums that were scrapbooks that were in the library to get a lot of these pictures of the '68 team especially. Once that's done, if you want an opportunity to speak, a member of the team wants to speak, that'll be your time to speak on behalf of the team. So it'll go speaker, video, names, and we'll move on. I especially want to take the opportunity to thank the class of 1954. They are seated. If you'd all stand, please. I'm sure that Walter Goddard will give you the background on how they actually got involved with us. I personally want to thank Ruth Kibble because she sat on this committee and she came all the way from Connecticut for every single meeting, and without her we wouldn't have the foresight and the insight to know some of the people from the past. We really want the next committee to represent each and every decade, especially those in the 50s and early 60s, because we want to be able to go back farther into the history of Hopedale and really make this, not start with a team that was in 1966. There are many athletes that some of us don't know anything about. And so, thanks to Ruth, we've got some ideas of people who were of the quality and of the character and of the athleticism to be future members of the Hall of Fame. She was a very big help to us, and I thank her. Now I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Goddard and welcome him to the stage. I hope you all have a great night.
Well, we appreciate being on the agenda, Kelly. Thank you very much. We're probably a typical class, a little older than everybody else in the room, I'm sure. But we get together periodically, small groups, and one of the subjects that come up among the war stories in the good old days is, gee, we ought to give back. We ought to have some kind of a class gift. And we work up a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and a couple weeks later we're back in things as usual, and it kind of dies away. A few years ago we decided we were going to do something, get into action mode, so I was asked to call Dennis Green and said to Dennis, we want to give you something. We're going to give you a gift. And Dennis seemed pretty excited, and when I said that it might be money, he said, geez, I could use a raise. So Dennis was certainly excited, but I assured him that the U was you representing Hopedale High School. He turned me over to Kelley, who said that they had been talking for some time about this Hall of Fame, and thought that that would be deserving of whatever we could contribute to it. Now, we were a class of 27 people. Sadly, 6 of the classmates are deceased. And when we get together, it's only a handful of people, but they have great energy. And we took a survey of our other classmates to see their interest level, and they were very energetic about it. When the place for would you contribute money to it, they were a little cautious, I must admit. Maybe frugal would be a kind of word. But we worked up some emails and letter writing and some enthusiasm on their part and said, send your checks. Well, we exceeded our expectations. I think we collected $2,245, I believe, and sent the check off stipulating that it was to be used for whatever the Hall of Fame committee wants it to be used, but dedicated for putting up the plaques tonight and future, and when the money runs out, hopefully you're representing a class that will have an idea of how to replenish the funds and keep this project going. Tonight I'd like to personalize by asking the individuals who are from the class of 1954 to stand. Don't clap again, we appreciate the polite, warm welcome. But if you would bear with us, because it's been a lot of good effort, fun effort, but they deserve their 5 seconds in the sun here. Bob Holmes, would you stand, please? He was very active in the fundraising. Ann Hayes, Hodath, if you would stand. Ann, I think, won the record for the person who came the shortest distance, Oak Street, all the way from Oak Street. Ann, well done. Ruthie Hoper Kimball, Kelley just mentioned her. She was our representative on the committee and did a fine job representing certainly our class and the criteria for all future selections. Ruthie standing. Joan Ripley Quattro, I guess she wins the award for the furthest travel. She has come from Oklahoma, and she probably sent out more emails than I can count, certainly. Terry Robbins is the widow of Lee Robbins. Lee was our class president and a fine athlete, and we miss him dearly. But Terry, thank you very much for coming as part of our class. Bud Nixon, where are you, Bud? Bud has adopted our class. He was a year younger than us, but we welcome him. And my wife Ellie, if she would stand. We all need support from our spouses and advice, and also a role that spouses seem to play particularly well is to keep us humble. And there was an occasion I can speak to where I came back from talking to a bunch of our classmates, all pumped up and excited. I think we had gone over the 2,000 mark, and she brought me back down to Mother Earth with a comment, well, what's the big deal? It's only taken you 57 years. Oh, I love the spouses. But we are indeed very proud to be part of the team that picked this project, and we got a winner tonight. So thank you very much for having us back as your guests.